Saturday. The
Right.
Boca Raton Conference is a very different value proposition.
Okay.
I've been told by people, and I'm predisposed to believe it, that this is the finest natural resource investment conference in the world.
For our guest today is the one and only commodities investing legend and the founder of Rule Investment Media. Rick, how are you doing?
Life is great, Ivan. Thank you for asking. Great holiday season. Looking forward to a wonderful 2025. I hope the season was the best to you and yours, and I look forward to experiencing 2025 with you and your listeners.
Oh, you know what? I really appreciate you. I wanted to get you on to talk about the precious metals market. There's been so much excitement about it in the past few months. You know, people are keeping a really close eye on the silver, gold prices, the fundamentals. But I wanted to, just to pick your brain and see where do you think we're going for silver and gold in 2025?
Uh, in the very near term, I can't tell you. I just don't know. I've tried to make short-term price forecasts for years, and like everybody else, my track record is lousy.
Oh, that's good. Well,
Sadly, sadly, looking longer term, I say sadly because the set of circumstances that leads to higher gold prices is inevitably a challenging circumstance. Uh, I think, unfortunately, that the outlook for gold is good, which is to say that the outlook for particularly debt-denominated fiat instruments is bad. But gold has, for 2,000 years, fulfilled a role in protecting people's wealth, protecting their portfolios in times like the times that I think we're going to experience in the next 10 years.
People have been talking about the repo crisis in America. They've been talking about how bad the debt is and how, how can they reduce interest rates when inflation keeps gradually going up. Where do you see the US economy going and how will that affect the global economy?
I think the United States is experiencing sort of a dichotomous economy, which is to say that artificially low interest rates are making it a very good economy for people like me,
Right.
people with access to credit and people with the education to know how to use it. For me, this is the best of times. If the Fed got out of the way, interest rates would probably go up 250 basis points. So ordinary people would make more money in their deposits, and I would spend more money to borrow money. For a whole bunch of the country, this market isn't working. It isn't working well at all. They talk about all the jobs being created, and they forget to note that somebody needs to work three jobs to make a living.
That's right.
And the political class is really stuck between a rock and a hard spot, Ivan. They understand, at least they understand at the Fed, that they have a much bigger problem with inflation that they're talking about. They also know if they raise interest rates that they slow the economy down, which makes them unpopular, which
Right.
they don't want to do. So let's look for fun at the arithmetic around it, if I may. I realize that math is much more boring than narrative, but it's also much more instructive than narrative. And I'm just talking about the US. I realize that there are other countries in the world, including the one that you're in. Congratulations, by the way, for allowing your prime minister to explore other employment opportunities.
We're excited.
But let me get back to the arithmetic. At the federal level in the United States, and we've said this before, we owe $36 trillion. To put that into context, is 20% more than our GDP.
Wow.
It's 20% more than our economy generates on an annual basis before we spend money for stuff like food. So that's a problem. But a much bigger problem is the fact that rather than reducing the debt, we increase it by $2.5 trillion a year. In other words, we're not digging our way up; we're digging our way deeper.
Mhm.
And the bigger problem than that, Ivan, is that our off-balance sheet liabilities, the net present value of our unfunded entitlement promises, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, federal government pensions, military pensions, exceeds, according to the Congressional Budget Office, $100 trillion.
Wow.
Every year, we add between 2.5 and $3 trillion a year in unfunded liabilities, net present value, and $2.5 trillion in on-balance sheet liabilities. So every year, the aggregate debt load gets bigger by 5.5. If you are a gold investor or a silver investor, absolutely do come. We will teach you really why you own gold. Understanding the reasons behind ownership gives you the courage to stomach market fluctuations. We'll talk about investing in gold, which is to say physical gold, using it as insurance. We'll talk about investing in gold equities, the highest quality gold stocks, and we'll talk about speculation in the juniors. There's three different kinds of investors in gold. There's the saver, who owns physical gold, the investor, who buys high quality gold companies, and there's the speculator. And we'll talk to all three of them. Like every investment education product I've ever offered in my life over 28 years, this comes with a full money back guarantee. If you sign up and the link that you've posted below, there will be a charge of $99 to attend. If you delay and come to the door, it'll cost you more. The important thing to remember is that there's an absolute money back guarantee. If you think for any reason that the information that we give you in the boot camp wasn't worth your tuition, email me. I'll give you the money back.
Wow.
No financial risk to you at all. Now, I've been making these money back guarantees for 28 years now, Ivan.
Mm-hmm.
And mercifully, the content has been good enough that I've had to refund less than 1/10 of 1%.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Charge. But I can't think of very many investments that you can make that have an absolute gold-plated money-back guarantee. This is, with regards to financial exposure, a no-risk investment.
So this is Boca Raton, July 7th to 11th, correct?
Oh, no, we're talking about something different. We're talking
Okay.
about something that takes place this Saturday.
Okay, so this is this Saturday. I'm going to put the link in the description below.
This Saturday. The
Right.
Boca Raton Conference is a very different value proposition.
Okay.
I've been told by people, and I'm predisposed to believe it, that this is the finest natural resource investment conference in the world in Boca Raton. You can attend that live, which I would prefer, or you can attend it live stream from the comfort and convenience of your own home. Once again, it has an absolute gold-plated money-back guarantee. How can I do this? Well, it's a hell of a product. We've put it on for 28 years. It's gotten a little bit better every year. And if you do it for 28 years, it gets better every year. It gets pretty good.
Nice.
We have great big picture speakers, the macroeconomists, the Jim Rickards, the Bill Bonners, the Daniela DiMartino Booths, people who tell you about the world the way it is, not the way the big thinkers wish it were. We have great analysts, people who have made money in natural resource businesses for 40 years, not people who failed at auto stocks and then failed at tech stocks and have parachuted down into natural resources, but people who stood the test of time as natural resource investors. Importantly, every exhibitor at our conference is vetted. No public company can exhibit on our exhibit floor if their stock aren't owned by the sponsors of the conference.
Okay.
Doesn't guarantee, Ivan, that every stock I buy goes up. It does guarantee that I know them well enough that I've invested my own time and treasure in them.
Right.
Which is important. Another great feature is that we have a panel called the Living Legends. People who have built multi-billion-dollar natural resource companies from scratch. They tell you about the lessons that they learned. They tell you about other people they invest in. They tell you how you can become a better investor. This is the most popular feature of the show every year. And this year we're expanding it. We're going to have an Investing Legends panel too. People who over 3 decades have made hundreds of millions of dollars or billions of dollars investing in natural resource stocks,
Wow.
teaching you their lessons, teaching you their tricks. Once again, absolute gold-plated money-back guarantee, whether you attend live at Boca Raton, Florida, which I would prefer, or from the comfort and convenience of your own home via live stream. In each case, you will have access for a year to the conference recordings so that you can refamiliarize yourself with all of the lessons that we teach. Once again, like the boot camp, the information that you're going to get is so dense, there's going to be so much of it, that you aren't going to be able to absorb all of it during the time that the conference is physically held. The
Right.
consequence of that is that we will make available conference recordings so that you can refresh your memory over the course of a year and get your full money's worth out of the conference.